Well, I'm honored to be here today with Judge Knisely. Judge Knisely, could you please introduce yourself?
Of course. My name's Mary Jane Knisely, and I sit on the bench in Billings, Montana.
And I know that there in Montana, you are very active in a mentor court. Could you tell our listeners what is a mentor court and what have you learned from sitting on a mentor court?
Of course. So I have the privilege of presiding over 2 treatment courts currently. A veterans treatment court called CAMO, stands for Courts Assisting Military Offenders.
Oh, okay.
And so we serve all justice-involved vets, all branches, all discharge statuses, pretty inclusive court. Very excited about that. Also, we serve family members of veterans if there is a connection with their offense to the service member. I also preside over a felony DUI court for DUIs in Montana. The Wild Wild West is an academy court, and we have visitors come in for that also. It's called STEER.
So what does a mentor court do?
So for us, what mentor courts have done is we have done it both in person and virtually, had folks come to Montana and train with our teams. They observe a docket, they observe a staffing, they have one-to-one peer interaction with our team members. We share any documents we might have, policies, procedure manuals. We tour them around, we take them out to see equine therapy. We have a store where our participants can shop. And we have hygiene products, we have work boots, we have a resume building center, all of those kind of things down at our store, so they can visit that and kind of see some of those resources as well. And then we just try to kind of help them lift their court and get going.
Awesome. Well, as a treatment court judge from Baltimore, we do not have equine therapy. So that seems to be very original and innovative. Could you tell us what equine therapy is?
Of course. So we obviously have horses in Montana, and so it's worked out really well for us. Our veterans go out to an arena, and for example, if you are not, of course, a cantankerous veteran, as you're coming in to the court with any issues that you're working on, we might pair you up to a cantankerous horse.
Ooh.
Or if you don't trust me, which oftentimes our participants don't trust team members,
right?
We might either have you with the therapist. They blindfold. You might be the one giving me the instructions through the obstacle course. Another veteran who is used to building camaraderie and working on partnerships is on the horse, and they do the obstacle course. If you're afraid of horses, they start with grooming and care and self-care. We bring your family on the weekend. We have mini ponies, mini horses, and up to really large, older horses.
Wow.
It's really fun.
It's kind of like what we do in the city with the dogs.
Probably.
Yes. We have
exactly.
dog programs. That's wonderful. So in general, how do you feel that treatment courts are helping communities deal with substance use?
So in my community and the state of Montana in general, we have a lot of substance use, and really we're lacking in a lot of treatment areas. We have 8 recognized Native American reservations.
Oh, wow.
They very much struggle with substance use. They struggle with historical trauma. In my city, which is the largest city in Billings, I've had a drug court, a mental health court, a veterans court now, a felony DUI court.
Wow.
We have really this great court that is the Indian Child Welfare Act court. It's a combination of treatment, of criminal courts and family courts. So that has helped our community a lot. We have some pretrial diversion courts, which I think really give folks who are just dipping their toe in the criminal justice system a chance to get services they otherwise would not have gotten. I think treatment courts, people come to the courthouse to sort out chaos. What could be more chaotic? And we have a really structured team who helps them sort their chaos out and shepherds them through that process. So I think and then they go on into the community to be productive.
Right, exactly.
To never come back to the courthouse unless it's jury duty.
What would you tell a team that is thinking about setting up their first treatment court?
So I feel like we really have to meet our participants where they are. And I would tell the team to take a look at where they are, because each court looks very different. And as you're setting it up, you can't expect to have everything right from the get-go. I would never say start small, because I actually liked getting a cohort and a theater together for people so that they could kind of build off each other in the court. but I would say look at what you really can realistically do and start this and serve these people and get going and ask others. You don't have to, design this all yourself. There are resources, but look at your team where they are, look at your community at what they are, and try to match them up to your participants, just like we do a treatment plan.
The Adult Drug Court Best Practice Standard Number 6 discusses the importance of complementary services and recovery capital. How have you been able to incorporate that into your courtroom and into your treatment court?
So I guess when I think of recovery capital, I think of anything you invest in yourself is recovery capital. And to explain that to participants at whatever phase they are in the program is really important. Recovery capital to me at the very beginning will look very different than it will at commencement. So we want to talk about that and offer them some suggestions and yet not overwhelm them. I think internal motivation also changes as you go through the program, and you want a little bit more for yourself the healthier you become. So for us, depending on if you have children, if you have trauma, if you have safe and sober housing or a home, or you have a felony DUI and would like to get a driver's license and become reinsured someday, we would help you do that. Like I mentioned the store earlier, we want to give you all the help we can with long-term employment. We have a really cool program where our law enforcement run a budget class. I would have never thought that that was going to be something, but they're very used to structure and numbers, whether it's 10-4, they've got it, or they tell them, and they run this class, and our clients come sometimes with a lot of debt, and they get out with the ability to buy a home sometimes. Wow. And it's really touching when they had come from no place to lay their head that was consistent besides couch surfing. So to me, that's kind of what recovery capital looks like. Again, some people still have their job. Some of our folks are not healthcare eligible at the VA because they're over income. I would have never thought that, but now what I know is mental health and substance use really can be anywhere, and income certainly does not define that either. And so they weren't eligible for services. So building a practicum around them when they were over income was really a challenge.
Right. What part does culture play in recovery capital?
So I think when you come together in the courtroom and you start to learn who your participants are, we do gender-specific dockets, which has been wonderful. The things that folks are willing to share when they aren't maybe having to be more guarded or to show off is really very interesting. It's demoralizing to ask for something, to build your own recovery capital and to build yourself up in an environment that you're not comfortable. We have, as I mentioned, lots of Native American females, for example, in my program, or Native American veterans who have served. They have very specific cultures and needs. And so, I don't know, drum therapy is really great. Who would have thought that was something that we should offer? We've just learned so much. Again, changing behavior, incentivizing behavior. You have to know who your people are, and they have to be comfortable.
What speaks to them? You have to know what speaks to them.
Yes.
Yeah. I was just interviewing a judge from Detroit who talked about recovery capital in terms of music and Motown, right? Because in their community, that's what speaks to their participants. You're talking about drum therapy in a tribal setting, and because that's what speaks to them. So it's really so interesting to see the differences around the country as far as what speaks to people and what impacts them in a deep way.
Yes, and there are things that don't mean anything that we thought meant so much.
Right.
And so we've learned so much, and we've been able to teach other courts that I might want to give you some incentive that you have no interest in having, and or don't need, or it just doesn't mean anything to you.
Right.
Yet something else might mean so much, but you only know that when you listen to who you have there and you watch how they interact with one another, and providing a mentor, providing a peer support specialist. Those are huge recovery capital things that people would never ask for in a mixed group.